Just coming off a thought very productive bye week for us. Chance to get our guys rested and healthier, and chance to improve as a football team. So I thought it was really positive for our guys as a staff to be able to focus in on some things. We had each coach go through and list 3 things that they had felt were need for focal point of the bye week as we technically got better as a team, and then finished up with the guys on Wednesday, and then had a short workout on Thursday morning, and then most of the staff went out Wednesday afternoon, and then we all recruited the rest of the weekend. So very, very positive with recruiting, obviously coming off of our last 4 games in conference play, and momentum going in to the bye week with a 7-2 record. So that was very positive. And then proud of our guys for being recognized in the top 25. You know, it doesn't really mean anything in regards to on the field. That's how you play. You got to prove it, but at the same time, just being recognized. All the hard work our guys have done. Much more work ahead of us. Much more work to do, but at the same time, not oblivious to the fact that it hasn't happened in 25 years. So, just something that our guys do take a lot of pride in, being recognized in that regard, but also know what comes with that too, the expectation, but that's what we want our program to be. You know, want us to be in this situation. We want our guys to be competing and build off of it and move forward. So that's what we plan to do. Would like to recognize the veterans. Veterans Day, such a special group of men and women that give so much for our country and all that we have, and all that they sacrifice and given to us. And so we appreciate all that they do and recognize them and honor them and thank them for their service. So great opportunity for the Hoosiers this week as we head to Penn State, take on a very, very good football team. And Coach Franklin's done a tremendous job there, building the roster and building their the level of play that they are at right now, and their level of expectation that they have. And so fully aware of the series and where we're at with them and how challenging it's been to play Penn State over the years, and especially at their place. And so we'll have a very big challenge / opportunity for our football team. So got off to a good start this week, fully aware of the talent they have on their roster. They've done a tremendous job recruiting, and every year we play them, they just get better and better. And that's no different this year. So very, very athletic on both sides of the football. Really best line of scrimmage play I've seen out of them on both sides since I've been here, and best speed that they've had as a group. So very, very talented football team that we're going to be facing this weekend. Questions?
You talked about it a little bit there, but you've not been shy about kind of addressing realities for this team, whether it's bowl situations, whatever it may be. How do you address, like I said, I know you talked about it a little bit, but the ranking is something that maybe you don't want guys to ignore, but you also don't want it to maybe get guys complacent or satisfied or anything like that.
Yeah, and we talked about it. I congratulated him this morning in our team meeting, and because I understand what it means, and you just know where your program is and what the steps are to get where you want to be, and when you haven't been ranked from 25 years, you know, it is a positive thing when it happens. It doesn't do anything for you on game day other than have a little number next to by your school name when they put it out. So, but at the same time, to whom much is given, much is required. So you work hard to get to that point, and then you learn how to handle the expectations that go along with it. And I think that's part of it. That's why I don't shy away from it and talk about it. And I talked about wanting a top 25 defense when I got here several years ago, and that's what we were able to accomplish. And talked about wanting a top 25 football program when I took over as head coach, and that's what we're getting closer to. And I know just because you get ranked one week doesn't mean that you're, all of a sudden you've arrived. But at the same time, it's an acknowledgement of what you're doing and the foundation you're laying. And we got a lot ahead of us. But I just feel like as I talk to our players about what that means, and you can, I guess some people can choose to be satisfied with it, and then it'll go away if that's what you choose to do. But if you handle it the right way, as I told our team before, I've said it publicly a few times, and it's how do you handle the success? And as we know, and we've said before that gold is tried by fire, and silver the same way, but man can be tested by the praise he receives. And so how do you handle that and being able to grow into that mindset to where people do say positive things about you, and they recognize what you're doing, and you get ranked in the country. And how do you handle that? Do you let it cause you to intensify the hunger that you have, or does it create a satisfaction and a let up? And obviously our desire and passion is that we would build off the successes we've had this year and keep growing and getting better, realizing we have a lot of hard work ahead of us and a lot of work to do, not where we want to be, but also don't want to discount the journey and the process that you go through, because sometimes you can you lose sight of the fact that, man, you're with a special group of guys and a special group of coaches that I have a lot of love and respect for, and truly enjoy being with them, and want to make sure we're enjoying our time together as well, and challenge our guys about that moment, as well as a senior class, as well as juniors and sophomores and freshmen. No one's guaranteed anything for the future, and so this group will never be together again. You have one special group for a certain year, and then the group will be different next year. And so just challenge them in those things, to be able to understand where we are, enjoy the moment, but also have zero level of satisfaction that we have accomplished anything yet. And so we got a lot of things ahead of us. Our goals that we have for our season are still out there, and so we got to work hard to accomplish those goals. And so that's part of handling where we are. So hopefully this team will continue to grow and mature and respond the right way. And thought today was a good start, but I'll know more after Tuesdays and Wednesdays practice and how we handle Thursday and then how well we play on Saturday.
You mentioned about foundations. You got at least 4 more games to play this year, but with the seniors, these are guys that have been to a bowl before, have had a couple of years of frustration, get to go back this year. Just your thoughts on just the way that they've been able to not only set a standard, but continue to help be leaders to raise that standard to the point that now you're ranked.
Well, I think that they had been here, as you said, long enough to experience some things and go to a bowl. They've not won a bowl game, so that was a big driving force for, in the beginning, one of our 3 goals was to win our bowl game. Not just get to a bowl game, but to win the bowl game, So that still remains to be one of our goals. And so those guys were very quick to want for that to be one of them, And they've really set the tone for the sense of urgency that I think this team started developing over the offseason, and the work ethic and the mindset that they brought every single day that we did what we do, whether it's in the weight room and the practice field in the spring or whatever we did over the summertime with our guys, and what they did in their player practices and all those things. That we've had a lot of elevation of intensity and just a way better leadership than since I've been here. So, and I think that's been reflective of the way we've played, and how they've handled, the situation, and continue to get better every single week, which is what you have to do, at this level and at any level. So I just think that those guys, those seniors, have been a huge part of what we're doing, and they will continue to be in the way that we finish. And that's just the constant challenge. And I just think you set your goals and you attack those goals, and you don't relax until you reach them. And we haven't reached any of them yet. So that's why we're still, excited about the progress we're making, but definitely very hungry and starving to get what we want.
I know you talked about not being satisfied, but when the rankings came out, I guess, what was your initial reaction to seeing it, and how did you find out that IU was ranked?
Well, Jeff Kaig's always the guy that gives me all the information, so he let me know, like he always does. But kind of, be honest with you, kind of after last week and what we did and where we were, we kind of, in some ways expected that we had to get this opportunity. I told our team last week, I said I expect us to be ranked after the bye week, so and we did. So, but I just think the reaction was just, hey, you know what? I told our team in fall camp that I thought they were a top 25 football team, and I'm sure nobody else would even have said that. So that was then said in the privacy of our meetings, but I told them that, and I believed it. And so I just said, guys, you're just doing now what I expected you to do. So, at the same time, obviously we had to work. We had to get better every single week. We had to do things to, after the first few games, you got to keep improving this, improving that, change this, change that. But you always have to do that. So, but at the same time, as I've been very clear from the beginning, is that if you don't believe, then I don't want you around us, and that's, to me, is a mindset that I have. And as a coaching staff and as players, I want players that believe, just like this week. If you don't believe that we can go to Penn State and win at Penn State for the first time in program history, then don't get on the bus. You know, that's the bottom line, because if you don't believe, we got no chance. And so it doesn't just happen to be just for a certain game. That's for our program too. And if you don't believe we can do great things here and do special things in Bloomington with our football program, then I don't really care what we have or haven't done in the past. That's never been part of the equation. And so that's just not how I think. And so our guys have been challenged in that way. And so when you do things that you expected to do or talked about doing, then you just congratulate them for doing it and say, okay, let's go back to work, because we got more goals to accomplish and more things that we want to do in this program. So I just think that, that's just the way I approach it, and our guys have responded to that. So we got a lot more things we want to do, and a lot more things out of this for this football team to accomplish. So we're just our head is down, and we're just working every single day.
Yeah, Coach, obviously the last time you faced a top 10 team was Ohio State. How much do you view that as maybe a turning point? And I know you mentioned about how you didn't want maybe the loss to necessarily, or maybe define you in a positive way in terms of, winning 6 your next 7.
Yeah, it was tough. We didn't perform to the level that I expected us to, and also walked away from that game, said to our staff that we just played a really good football team. I thought it was the best Ohio State team that we had played since I've been here, and for a variety of reasons, and I think they've proven that to be the case. And so they've done it consistently every single week. It didn't really matter who they play. So we ran into quite the buzzsaw, in them, and that's a credit to them and what they're doing, and what Coach Day is accomplishing there each and every week. But yeah, it was look yourself in the mirror and evaluate what you're doing, and didn't like certain things on each side of the football, and made changes and made adjustments and made some, even some positional things that you try to address and get guys in the right spots and everything. So, but it was, it was tough reality that we weren't where we want to be. And so, but what do? You go feel sorry for yourself, or you go back to work. And we chose to go back to work and get better. And so now we got a chance to line up again against a team in that same caliber, and we'll see where we are.
Do you bring up what happened in the first quarter there 2 years ago, and how much has this team changed under Clifford at quarterback?
To your first question, no. Okay, I've tried to forget about that quarter, but at the same time, you talk about starting fast, and how you have to. We did a lot of extra work today on special teams, and so that was a rough start, and so probably not going to bring that up to our guys, except if they watch this press conference right now. But other than that, I feel like that the Clifford kid is just a really, really tough competitor. I mean, he really, that's where he's so much like McSorley was such a tough kid, competitor, just always found ways, and can beat you with his leg, beat you with his arm. I mean, he's just a very, very talented guy, and a little different. Everybody's got their own skill sets that they have as players, and he's got a very, very talented cast around him, in both the running back room and tight ends and receivers, and they just got so many. But I think the biggest thing that sticks out to me is their offensive line is just better, than they've had. So they just every year they just keep getting better and better, and so that's a tribute to their coaching staff and how they coach them and how they recruit and everything. So, but yeah, he's a really good football player, and he probably didn't play his best game of his season last week, but those things happen, and I'm sure he'll bounce back. And so, but he's just anytime a guy that can run it like that, he's just a tough kid that takes a lot of hits, but never seems to get dinged up, and which is, and we all know in this day and age that can be hard to keep your quarterback healthy if you're going to run him a little bit. And so, but does a good job throwing the football, on the perimeter and down the field, and they do a lot of things to put you in a lot of conflicts schematically, and they do a great job with that. So, no, it's a talented offense. There's no question about it. So they create a lot of issues for you, and you better tackle well in space. You better be disciplined. You better, handle their size and mass in the core, which is, like I said, a big improvement for them over the last few years, and that's why they're playing really good football. So yeah, he stepped right in there and really hasn't missed a whole beat there, and what they're trying to accomplish as an offense.
Coach, you got a lot of guys, young guys, and none more openly about it than Tywan Mullen, who's talked about coming here to make a difference. How important is getting ranked while they're here in their first season to them and the guys that are going to follow them?
I think that's the part that makes it really important, because, and as I message recruits and I said, hey, we're doing everything we said we were going to do. and Taiwan's doing everything he said he was going to do. And other guys were in that same situation that we recruited, and so I just think that it's, say it's one thing, we didn't make a big, like you said, I didn't make some big public comments about it. We talked about it privately as a team and what I believed we could accomplish. And I believe in setting out that vision. I think you got to have a vision. You got to see the big picture of what you think you can accomplish, and then you go do it. And then when you do it, you just take solace in the fact that, hey, we're doing what we said we were going to do. Now we're going to build off of that and go do something, more. And that to me is, but I do feel like that it sends a strong message, to the recruits and to what you're saying, to where, because everybody always talks about, hey, what we're building and this and that when you're recruiting somebody, and it's like, okay, hey, everything we said, we're living it out. And that's what I think is critical, to be able to say that and show that. And now it's up to us to build off of it, and make to where it's a foundational launching point rather than just a destination, which I don't want it to be that. So that's where I just think that guys like Taiwan and the way that he bought in and just came with that confidence, that quiet, because he's not a real, some corners are really chirpy guys. He's not a lot of that, but he believes it on the core, and he doesn't say a whole lot, but his play has been at a high level, and he believes that, he was just like, Coach, so I told you we were going to do it, and so I just think that is contagious, without question. And it's just a really, really awesome thing to see a guy that's humble, yet works his absolute tail off every single day and is infecting the guys around him in a positive way. It's pretty cool.
It's kind of off the beat for Penn State, but as you look at, I know you can't talk about specific players, but as you look at kind of where you are in 2020, kind of where do you expect that class to fall in terms of numbers, and kind of what maybe are you still looking for there? And I guess as sort of a follow-up to that, at least generally, have you seen a reaction in recruiting as you've been able to go out, especially after the bye week, to what you guys have been doing this season, and maybe people taking a little bit more notice of kind of the message that you're...
Yeah, I think there's, without question, it's been extremely positive. It's always fun to go out, and get in schools when you've got good positive momentum and doing good things and playing to a certain level. And the thing it keeps coming back is everybody just comments about how hard we play, how much better we keep getting. Now we're finishing games out. I mean, they're noticing all those things and all that. So, but I think that it's not going to be a very big class. We don't have a lot of seniors, and so I think that upper teens probably numerically is where you're looking at. And I think that O-line, D-line, we're still working on some spots there, and skill guy or two here and there. But other than that, we don't have room. It's just you can only replace it within the 85 of what you lose. And so we're a young football team. So there's always natural attrition with things that happen and all. But I think the guys enjoy being here and the way we do things, and they're able to develop as both a young man and as a student athlete and as a football player, so they're challenged in all three of those areas. So I think that everything that we say we are in recruiting is who we are, and I just think that that's, but when you have success on the field, and once again you do, and you are doing the things you talked about doing in recruiting now, it's definitely, momentum is high right now. So it's a very positive thing.
Coach, you talked about Penn State's team speed. One of the spots they really have that out is at wide receivers. What type of challenges do they provide for the secondary?
Quite a few. I mean, it's speed is what everybody wants, and the game is played in so much space now, and both laterally they stretch you out, vertically, and trying to create those one-on-ones and try to win those and make guys miss, and so you're trying to get as many guys hats to the ball as you can, and when the quarterback's a runner too, that even makes it more difficult to defend, and he is obviously, and so I mean it's tough. It's a tough system that you have to defend, and Hamler's as quick as you're going to see. He makes a lot of people look silly in space. So it's you don't want to put one guy. You better have more guys there than just one, or else it's going to be a long day. So, but then you can't you do too much on one guy, then they got others around him to hurt you for that. So, yeah, it creates a lot of challenges, and we just got to do a great job of being very disciplined and you know, trying to do some really good things schematically to give ourselves a chance to be successful in those with those talented receivers, and you know, we've got some talented DBs as well, but they're going to be tested for sure, and probably more so than they have been, you know, in a while. So it's just going to take a team effort, all three phases, playing together, complementary football, winning football, being able to be at our very, very best. That's what it's going to take.
Don't want to jinx him, but Logan Justice hasn't missed a field goal season. I mean, just as a person.
He missed one in
He
practice.
missed
so
one
he's
in
good.
practice.
Yeah,
All
we're
right,
good.
okay. So, I mean, he doesn't talk a whole lot, but as a character and as a person, like, why is he that person who's so clutch who just doesn't miss?
Well, you know, I think certain guys have that ability to be able to be really, really good when the pressure's on. Causes some guys to, you know, hesitate a little bit or second guess themselves, and so he's shown, you know, the last 2 years here, the ability to really lock in and focus and do a great job of hitting those you know, those clutch field goals, you know, and really that of all the positions, that's the one guy that better be your quality, because you can be a great kicker, and if you struggle to make the ones when it really matters, then you're not going to be a very successful kicker, you know, and so but you can. Other positions you can make mistakes and it gets hidden a little bit, but not that guy. So, you know, I just think that there's a consistency in how he prepares. He trains really hard. He's improved so much since I've been here, you know, and just his ability to, you know, not the ball used to when I first got here, it just always seemed to kind of it hooked quite a bit, you know, and just really worked hard to get him to get more of a vertical, you know, both. You know, launch as well as extension to stay through and be more accurate. And so I think these last couple of years he's obviously kicked his very, very best, but it was just through a lot of hard work, training, and it's just because there's so much consistency you have to have in the swing, and it's like a golf swing. It's kind of just the same, you know, and getting the holder, the snapper, and that's one thing that's going. We got a new long snapper this year, and he's done a great job, Sean Ratcher, and just being able to get, you know, Hayden as the holder now, and just the consistency from that, even from last year. So I just think that he's shown the ability to be adaptable. You know, it doesn't have to be a perfect. Some guys, if everything's not right, he just kind of freaks out. You know, he's not one of those guys, you know, so, and that's a good thing. Those guys drive me nuts because it's rarely perfect, you know, whether it's the wind or whatever conditions or the turf or the surface or whatever, or the snap. And so he just seems to be able to, you know, get good lift, you know, which is important. He naturally has good lift. I think it's been a good thing to help him, you know, throughout the years. So, but yeah, just, you know, sometimes just guys are, you know, some guys are clutch and some guys are not, you know, and he's been able to prove that that's it. We're going to need him, you know, these last few games. He's going to have to, I guarantee it, come up and win a game for us. All right. Have a great day, Elio.